Hi, welcome to Lesson 5-4, Dividing by Multiples of 10. Our learning goal will be to divide three-digit numbers by multiples of 10. Our specific learning goals for this lesson will be to make sure we subtract carefully when we're doing division, to check to make sure that the remainder is always less than our divisor. Also, we're going to add to find our quotient, and we'll be using multiplication to check our answers when we finish. There are no new vocabulary terms for this lesson. Let's go ahead and take a look at our first example. I'm going to be using divide, multiply, subtract, and bring down as I work this problem using the standard algorithm. So let's go ahead and take a look at 345 divided by 30. Well, I'm going to go ahead and take a look and see how many times 30 will go into 34, and that will go in one time. So 30 times 1 is 30. I will subtract, bring down the 5. 30 will go into 45 one time as well. 30 times 1 is 30. I will subtract, and that gives me a remainder of 15. That's good because 15 is less than 30, so I know I'm on the right track. Now I'm going to multiply to check my division. So I will multiply 11 times 30, which is 330, and then I have to add back in my remainder of 15, which will give me 345, so that way I know I did my division correctly. Let's take a look at our first practice problem. We have 282 divided by 20. Please pause, work the problem, check your remainder to make sure it's less than your divisor when you finish, and then multiply to check your division. Whenever you're ready to check your problem, please press play. Okay, did you write down 14 remainder 2? Well, let's go ahead and work this together. So we have 282, and we're dividing that by 20. 20 will go into 28 one time. That means I can make one group of 20 out of 28 things. Now I multiply 20 times 1, which will give me 20. I'll subtract, and then I'll bring down the 2. 20 will go into 82 4 times. 20 times 4 is 80. And I will subtract, which gives me a remainder of 2, which is less than 20, which is good. And I'll put my remainder up here. Now I'm going to multiply to check my division. So I will multiply 40 times 20. Which gives me 280, and then I have to add back in my remainder of 2. So that gives me 282. I check that right back up here, and I know I did the division correctly. Okay, our next practice problem is 467 divided by 50. Please pause and press play when you're ready to check your answer. Did you write down 9, remainder 17? Let's work it together. So we have 467, and we are dividing that by 50. Well, 50 can't go into 46, so I have to figure out how many groups of 50 I can make out of 467 things. A trick to this is kind of looking back to some of those mental math strategies we worked with multiplication and division. And if I look at the 5, I need to think how many times would 5 go into 46? Well, I know 5 times 9 is 45, so 50 times 9 would be 450. So I'll put my 9 up here. 50 times 9 is 450. I will subtract, and I get 9 remainder 17. Well, let's check my work. Oh, first of all, let's make sure that our remainder is less than our divisor, which it is. Now I'm going to multiply 50 times 9, which is 450. And then I have to add back in my remainder of 17. And that gives me 467, which was what I started off with right here, so I know my division is correct. Let's look at our third practice problem. 481 divided by 60. Please pause, work out your problem, check it using multiplication, and press play when you're ready to check your answer. Did you write down 8 remainder 1? Well, let's work it together. So we have 481, and we're dividing that by 60. Okay, we can't make any groups of 60 out of just 48 things, so we have to see how many groups of 60 we can make out of 481. Let's use the same strategy we looked at last time to help us understand this problem. Well, if I look at the 6 and the 48, I know that 6 times 9 is 54. I know that 6 times 8 is actually 48, so 60 times 8 would be 480, which gets me very close. I will subtract, and so I have 8 remainder 1. My remainder is less than my divisor, which is good, and then now I will multiply 60 times 8, which is 480, and I'll add on my remainder of 1, which gives me 481. Let's take a look at a practice word problem. A group of 483 students from Prairie Point are taking a field trip. One bus is needed for every 50 students. How many buses are needed? Please work through this problem. Make sure you answer the question of how many buses are needed. And let's write that in sentence form. Take a few moments, work this out, and press play whenever you're ready to check your answer. Did you write down 10 buses? Well, let's take a look at the problem. So we have 483 Prairie Point students, and we can fit 50 students on each bus. Well, I can't make any groups of 50 out of 48 things, so I have to know how many times 50 will go into 483. I'm going to use the same strategy I looked at before. I know 5 will go into 48 9 times, because 9 times 5 is 45. So I know 9 times 50 is going to be 450. 9 times 50 is 450. I will subtract. Excuse me. And that gives me a remainder of 33, which is less than 50. So 9 remainder 33. But what question was it asking me? It was saying how many buses will we need to transport all 483 students? Well, 9 buses would be completely filled, but we'd still have 33 more students to put on a bus. So we would actually need 10 buses. For the students. Oops. See if I can make that E look a little bit better. And let's go ahead and use multiplication to check my answer. 5 times 9 is 450. And then I'm going to add in my remainder of 33, which is going to give me 483. So I know I did that correctly. It's already time for our challenge problem. There are 324 in the 3rd and 5th grades at Prairie Point Elementary. So we have 324 students. For a pizza party, their teachers ordered 1 extra large pizza for every 20 students. How many extra large pizzas did they order? Explain and show your work in your journal. Make sure you check your division using multiplication and answer this in sentence form, telling us how many pizzas they would need to order. Please come to school tomorrow ready to check your work. So let's finish up. Go back, review your learning goals. Have you mastered all of them? Do you need to go back and practice or review again? In your journal, please write down if you feel that you're at a 1, a 2, or a 3 in your learning. Congratulations, you have completed lesson 5-4, dividing by multiples of 10. We'll see you tomorrow.